You're live.
Hockey Nation fans, welcome back to the Hockey Nation live show with Colt Frenchy directly from the booth and Michael DeVillano directly from the West Coast and USA, California. Michael, how you doing today for a Monday?
Excited to be starting to look at the future of the NHL. As we get back to playing hockey would be great.
Yeah, it was a great weekend. We are a little bit late this morning because we tried to talk about each day, about each team, the roster, the depth chart, the rookies, the prospect, everything like that. So we're going to go through the next, honestly, 31 days to go all the way. We're going to go not by who we're thinking they are the best team, or we have no other direction like alphabet by the letters, and we start today. We're going to be the Anaheim Ducks. But before we jump on that, we have a couple of news going on around the league since the last show we did Saturday. Not many things going on. Honestly, we're still waiting for what's going on with Mike Hoffman, Travis Armonic. Honestly, they are maybe, and Michael Grenland. They are the three players on the UFA. But this week is the beginning of the RFA arbitration. So they are going to be in funded, to go on to see their salary from the agent versus the team, what they are thinking the players should get. So sometimes it's not great. They still have a couple backflash from that discussion, everything like that. Hopefully everybody will be fine. So what happening this weekend? Some we left each other. We got a couple of new signature. We knew already, Cody Sissick and also Joey Takar signed with one with Pittsburgh and the one with Ottawa. But we have three new players sign up. One is again for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Sam Miletic is only 23 years old, left wing, 1 year contract, $700,000. But the big one is honestly from the Boston Bros, the left defenseman Matt Grinslick, 14 million point 75 for a long of a length of the 4 years, 3.69 million per year. He is a 26 years old defenseman. Honestly, he's going to take what Torrey Crook left this team, and we don't know again what Zeno Chara is going to do. So he's going to be maybe right now the best player on the left defenseman for Boston. So the hole is big for him. He have a lot of big shoes to wear in now, because without Crook and maybe possible Chara, it's a big situation for Matt. Honestly, he have a lot of things to do.
I mean, he's not a number one guy. I can see where he's a 3-4 maybe, but
oh, yeah, definitely not number one. Of course, not.
I don't know but I think they're counting on McAvoy to be their top guy, and he's got experience now, and he's got all the talent, and he's got way more offense than he's showing. So I think they'll be okay. I mean,
but he played on the right D.
Oh yeah, for sure. So, but I think in the end, it's like, what's your 1A, what's your 2A, and
so usually, McAvoy played with Chara a couple of years ago. For many years now, because Chara, they put Torrey Crook with McAvoy. And
it feels like a hole. How good is Jeremy Lozon? I don't even know. I mean,
so they have something to cover there for sure. They have a lot of money on the cap space to pick up someone maybe on the left side. But if you go on the UFA, they don't have a lot of defensemen to cover that one over there. So it would be very interesting what's going on. Honestly, it's 5'9", 135. 4 goals last season, 17 assists and 21 points.
Grizzlick, yeah, that's crazy. He's not very big.
So it was the most, honestly, goal for him and best season as an offensive side. So, they need him for sure. Maybe not like top defenseman, but he can be like a top 4.
It's gonna have to be. I mean, he's making 3.8.
So the next signature is happening a couple of minutes ago, maybe 1 hour ago. It's a minor one. Ottawa Senator just signed G.C. Baudin, $700,000 1 year. He's a center, play for AHL, 23 years old. Honestly, just like we're going to get a lot of signature left and right from those kind of players. Honestly, for the next couple.
It's weird because I mean, are they counting on an AHL season? They're signing all these depth guys.
Yeah, he played 22 games last season with the in the NHL. He have only one assist, -4. He's only like clear 4 line. He was 8 minute 38 TOM TOI. So he did not, you know what I mean.
I mean, you could see where it'd be interesting because they don't have big TV contracts to worry about. Would the NHL tell the AHL, listen, you can't have fans? Cool. You're going to just play in arenas with no travel. Everybody get around these arenas and take over a fourplex.
Yeah. So that's
cheap ice.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happening this week. And honestly, it seems like Bourdain just signed a couple hours ago.
We're at that point where it's like guys like Hoffman and Vatanen and Hammond, they're just going to sit there.
Possible. I think
they might. That's what I was saying before. Guys like that might end up not getting a contract until training camp.
Yeah, that's another possibility also there. I think the biggest question now is not about this. I think the biggest question is about, okay, when we restart, when they start, how many games, what's the conference, what is going to be the playoff. So we have a lot of discussion between the NHLPA and also the NHL. So It's going to be interesting to see what's going on in the next couple of weeks. Yeah, nothing in fun right now. The draft was last week. The UFA was over this week. Molded manager looking more for RFA, and then after that, they're looking about, okay, what we're missing. I think a couple of teams are still shopping slowly but properly to find what they are missing on that part. But I think the big news, I'll be honest with you, it was more today about one is maybe one of the best. Maybe it was the best. I never listening every time it was on TV and everything is the Doc Hamrick retired from hockey broadcasting after 47 years. Play-by-play voice of the NHL on NBC, covering more at 3,700 game, including cup final 22 times. He's an icon. He's a pioneer of a broadcasting. Many young people want to have a passion about becoming a play-by-play, everything like that. He was the godfather of a play-by-play, I'll be honest with you, and everybody follow him, everybody love him. He was like amazing me. He was 74 years old and he still did it this year, so it was pretty amazing to see him. His voice was all around and it was like unique for what he was doing. So for me, listen to him all the time, and came from French Canadian, listening, the French part where we have a couple of René Lecavalier, and then we have Garneau, and then and now you have Pierre Hood. But this Doc Emmerich was maybe one of the best in any sport as a play-by-play broadcaster. So thank you for everything you bring on this for everybody. Love the game and everything. So it's it's your turn now to relax and rest and enjoy the rest of what you have in front of you. And thanks for everything. So for me, it's a little bit emotional because I think it was really the one enjoy most because it's his passion behind the mic.
Yeah, I always enjoyed him. I think when he initially started and the U.S. started getting more broadcasts, I was kind of like, it was different, right? But I think he really revolutionized. His approach was different, and we had to kind of adjust to it. And it came over time, he understood that he was like a great part of any of those US NBC broadcasts. So I'm kind of surprised he's retiring.
But it's funny because he did not come from nowhere where, at the end of the season, like, the last game and the playoff or something like that, we did not hear anything about, the Doc, maybe his last game or anything like that. I mean? He it's just like, but I'll be honest with you, I was surprised to have him to be 74. I never thought he was so that age. I thought he was maybe
I had no idea.
I did not know myself too. The nickname Doc came from Henrik Time at the Bowling Green State University, where he called hockey from 71 to 73, graduated with a PhD. So the guy is a really smart man.
Yeah.
And, so for me, it's like, since I moved in USA, you always been the guy was, loving to watching more the game, watching and listening more because his voice and the way he bring the enthusiasm, the energy, and how he was engaged during the game. And, his relationship, with El Olchik or Pierre Maguire, everything like that, you can see he was like really intense about what he was doing. So
Yeah.
for me, it was a great to, he was a national treasure for hockey, I believe, and to see him retire. So, the only I would say, thank you so much because you bring that kind of passion and behind the mic, and a lot of people, more younger at me, they really enjoy hockey maybe because his voice behind the mic. So
yeah, it's kind of weird. I don't know why you just keep going, Doc.
It's amazing 40 years in the NHL. So we'll see what happening there and see what is next. Little bit what it was. Bob Costat, and you can talk about him like a Buick and everything like that. The best of the best, but he was one of the best. So we'll see happening. Who's going to be next? And NBC, we're going to get. You have a lot of great over there to pick it up that job and helping the NBC sport hockey and everything like that. So honestly, we don't have anything else. I don't know, Michael. You have something else around?
No, I think we're at that point where we can start looking at what our team's going to look like next year. It'd be kind of interesting because we're running out of daily action. We're getting to that quiet period again.
You know what I mean? Of course, you have a couple of things going on around the league and everything like that. I have a couple of things for you before we move on with Anaheim because we still have a couple. You know what I mean? How many teams do you believe in NHL right now never win the Stanley Cup?
26.
They never win their Stanley Cup in their history.
Like 26? I don't know, 25.
No. Like some team winning one time, you know what I mean? But how many never win?
Anaheim's won. Arizona's never won.
You're right, one.
Buffalo's never won.
That's two.
Carolina's won, so that's funny. Chicago's won. St. Louis has won. San Jose's never won.
That's three.
Dallas won. Edmonton's won. Florida's never won.
That's four.
LA's won. Las Vegas has never won.
That's five.
Minnesota's never won.
That's six.
Montreal's won. Islanders have won. Rangers have won. And let's see. Nashville's never won.
That's seven.
Ottawa's never won.
That's eight.
Philly's won. Pittsburgh's won. St. Louis has won. San Jose has won. Toronto's won. Tampa's won. Winnipeg's never won.
That's nine. Missing two.
Vancouver's never won.
That's 10. Miss one.
Calgary's won. St. Louis doesn't, or Seattle has won actually. I'm missing one team.
Yep.
I'm missing just one name. Let me think about this. I mean, Washington, Carolina, Toronto, Columbus.
Yep.
Yeah.
Columbus was the last one, honestly. The Anaheim team right now, who do you believe have more chance to win?
Of all those teams?
Yeah. Give me two teams you believe may have more chance to win.
I mean, you got to think Vegas has an opportunity. I don't really believe in that team, but maybe. Columbus, I think, are still a little bit away, but you never know. They are a good playoff team. Vancouver, to me, had an opportunity, but they lost a couple pieces that were kind of concerning, but I think still the core, as long as Demko is what you have to think they're going to be a really competitive team. I don't believe in Winnipeg. Minnesota, I definitely don't believe in. Arizona, I definitely don't believe.
I think
I don't believe. Ottawa, I don't believe.
the only thing really right now that list on maybe Vegas, and after that, maybe Vancouver.
Like Vancouver, if
I think the next 3 years, if they bring a goalie and they bring like maybe someone or two piece, they have more chance. Winnipeg is another thing close, but the rest of this part of that, I don't see Ottawa, Nashville.
I don't have any faith in Vancouver and Winnipeg. Vancouver, really, the biggest thing, if they had kept Markstrom, I would have felt a lot better. I would have felt like they were there. And now they've got a gap on the wing, right? Because they didn't keep Toffoli. So they have to make a couple moves and they could be back in there. I feel they just dropped a year, to be honest. But they got Schmidt, but I don't think that does anything for them. I think it gives them a little bit of a benefit on D, but I think their issue really boils down to they need a winger and they need a legit goalie. Unless Demko, I believe in Demko, but they probably need a second guy.
Yeah, how old be?
If Holtby can return to a fraction of what his former form is, maybe. And he's got the experience. He's won a cup. So I think if he's motivated, he's in shape. Yeah, you're right. If he's like he was last year, I don't think that helps them.
Now move on to another subject, and you're going to laugh about that one. You remember Joe Thornton just signed with the Toronto Leafs, honestly, a couple of days ago. And which number is going to wear?
Oh, I don't know.
97.
Really?
Yeah. So Joe Spezza, you want to give him the 19. He refused to get that one. He said Spezza should keep it. And number 17. Now,
draft year?
I'm sorry again?
Is that his draft year? Or is he
no, he was just picked 97 like that.
Really?
Yep. Talking about that, I want to mention to you about 10 other times the Maple Leaf had shown a veteran or Hall of Fame during their history, right? And just a couple of things what happening with Joe Thornton. So the level one, the worst case scenario, the players they signed, it was Doug Gilmour came back from Montreal at 39 years old.
Do you know why Joe Thornton's draft year was 1997? By the way, that's why he picked it.
Really?
Yeah. First overall draft pick, 97.
So that's maybe the reason why he got that one over there. Honestly. So anyway, when Gilmour came back with the Toronto, he played 4 shifts. Then after that, he got destroyed with Dave Lowry, and he never came back on the ice because he blew out his knee.
They crashed. It was weird. Like it blew his knee or something.
Yep. Then the following, the level 2, the whipping boy is the players called Larry Murphy.
Well, it was ridiculous. Like the guy went on to win with Pittsburgh. He was great in Detroit.
He was booed a lot.
Yeah, that was nonsense. Larry Murphy was what he was. Like he was a really good offensive, productive, good defenseman, but not beautiful skater. Like I don't know what the problem was. He came from Pittsburgh and won the cup, won 2 cups in Detroit?
Yep. So
yeah, but he wasn't good enough. He had 61 points, Pierre, for the Leafs in 82 games.
Yep.
And he was garbage. Oh, okay, right. And then he had 39 points in 69 games, and he finished that season with 45 points.
Yeah, so, they traded him up to Detroit, and then he got 2 Stanley Cup.
You know who sucked was everybody else.
Yep, level 3, don't remember him, but if you say so, it's Ron Francis and Phil Osley. At 39 years old, Osley and Francis, yeah, 41 when he got there. He got 10 point, 12 game Francis with Toronto. He was only there for one, end of the season.
So old at that point. Brian Leach had a bit of an impact, but I don't know.
Level 4, lower expectation, Eric Lindros.
Eric's head was not right. He like, and I don't mean like emotionally. I mean physically. The guy was just an injury machine. He just had bad injuries all the time.
He
And
left after that, and
it was sad because he was when he played, he was like still dominating, but he just couldn't stay healthy.
Which team he finished his career?
New York Rangers.
Dallas.
Was he? Oh, he went to Rangers then Dallas?
No, he went to Toronto to Dallas. It was before that. He was with Rangers.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
Yep. The old guy who old is on. This is the old one, but Pierre Pilote. Pierre Pilote, he was he played 1 year at the end of his career, like 14 with the Blackhawks. He got traded in 6'8", 6'9". They was expect a lot and did not know. Number 6, solid is, but if not spectacular, Mike Gardner.
I never liked Mike Gardner. The guy got 30, 40 useless goals a year to me. He was just really fast and talented, but he was just a weird guy. I don't know what it was. I didn't love that player. They traded Glenn Anderson to get him, which I was like, no, keep Glenn Anderson. And then Glenn Anderson, he went off and won a cup, didn't he, with the Rangers?
Yep. Level 7, here for a good time, not for a long time. Brian Leach.
Yeah, well, he played really well, but he was so old at that point. I mean,
yep. But he did a good
terrible defensively. He was horrible.
He did well on that run over there.
He had no interest in playing.
Level 8, the impact player, Ed Belford.
Well, Ed Belford was great in Toronto.
Yep. Yeah, 2 years there. It was 2-0. He had no goalies during those time.
He was so good.
Finalist of the Vizina in 2002, 2003. You know what I mean? He did very well at the time. You're absolutely right. He did very well over there. The hometown hero, Joe Nieuwendyk.
He was phenomenal. They should have kept him. The guy was their best player in the playoffs, and he went to Florida after that, and he was really good there. Like, they had him and Gary Roberts, and Nieuwendyk was their best player. It made no sense. They just, I don't know. He was that guy. You understood how good he was at that point, like, because he wasn't even his best, and he was better than everybody.
Yep. And number 10, the level yet this guy is the best in the league, and this is an old one, but Jacques Plante.
Wow, he was a legend, obviously, yeah.
You know, that year he played for Toronto. He played 40 games, and that time I believe the season was 70 game or 72 game. I think that season was not like 82, maybe 68 game, but I think it was 70 game. But anyway, he played 40 game at 41 years old. He played an average goal again 1.89, and he still have the record of save percentage of .94.
42. That's incredible. 942.
So it's amazing.
And what's more interesting is the other goalie that was there. Do you know who the other goalie was? There was like a couple, but the one was Bernie Perron.
Who?
Bernie Perron.
Yeah, before he got traded to Fly.
Right. Well, I don't know if they lost him or traded him, but he was claimed in the expansion draft by the Flyers.
Yeah.
But Bernie Perron played 18 games that year, and then he played 47 the year after. So the Leafs had Bernie Perron.
Yeah, he finished his career with the Boston Bruins at 46 years old. He played in the WHA at that time at the end of his career.
So think about it. They had Bernie Perron. They protected Jacques Plante and lost Bernie Perron to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Good choices.
It's happened all the time, those mistakes anyway. So, talking about Joe Thornton, the 10 best old players come back with Toronto Maple Leafs. I was surprised at those times, sometimes I was not remember exactly like I was not sure like Gardner was there. I was not sure like Lindros was been there. And if you turn that, it's something you forgot those names. Oh, yeah, he played 1 year with it. Oh, yeah, he played there. It's true. Yeah. So, it's pretty amazing to see that. But,
the year Lindros was there, they had that was John Ferguson Jr. And John Ferguson Jr., first of all, Paul Maurice was the coach, which I didn't really like him that much. But he had Jason Allison, I think, was there. and he had Sundin. So their three centers were Lindros, Sundin, and Jason Allison, which was pretty interesting. Jeff O'Neill was there.
Yep.
And they had, Belfour was there, of course. It was the goalie. So, but yeah, I don't know. He just couldn't stay healthy. It was too bad.
I know. It was not like,
Oh, I'm sorry. Pat Quinn was the coach.
Pat Quinn was the coach. Yep, so right.
Yeah, and there was a weird war there because between Pat Quinn and Ken Dryden that ended up John Ferguson Jr. being the GM. And I think a year later he made the Andrew Raycroft.
He did not do well over there. So listen, we're going to go through that we said we're going to go.
Yeah, let's go through it.
And really you're having more than you're going to take the charge about this part and go through the team, everything like that. And I'm going to helping you a little bit more about what's going on and what I can do for you.
All right, so we're going to start going through the rosters of the different NHL teams. Today, we're just going to take a quick look at the Anaheim Ducks. We'll look at their initial roster, their cap situation, and then talk a little bit about prospects and where we think that they will finish. If we look at their roster, this is kind of what's on the initial roster. So you look at their top line, Jakob Silfverberg, Adam Henrique, and Rickard Reichel. And then, you're showing now that Getzlav has dropped down to the second with Danton Heinonen, Sonny Milano. And then the third line they're kind of lining out is Max Jones, Sam Steele, and Troy Terry just re-signed. And I think all three of those players started popping through. And they're projecting that Derek Grant will center the fourth line with Nicolas Deslauriers and Carter Roney. The player that I don't see on here is Comtois, and you've got to think that Comtois is going to bust through. And I actually had Comtois ahead of Terry, to be honest with you, but I guess we'll see.
He played last year, right?
What's that?
Comtois played with them last year?
A little bit, yeah, he did. I think he's a really, really good prospect. To me, like, he should pop ahead of Milano.
What about
or Heinen? Who's that?
Roney. Is it Roney?
Carter Roney?
The right wing.
This guy?
Yeah.
He's a meathead. I don't know.
Okay. I don't know him, so my question is like, is it good? Was it?
No, he's like a tough guy. Like the other guy that's not on here is Isaac Lunderstrom, and I think Lunderstrom. If we can probably update this, so I think Lunderstrom you got to put in there, and then you've probably got to think about where is Comtois. And to me, Comtois is probably the left side. I think he can play either wing personally, but so they've got some prospects that have come through. A lot of these guys played for the current coach, which is Dallas Eakins, in the AHL.
Yeah.
And then if you look on defense, like right now, there we go. On defense, they have Hampus Lindholm on the left side with Josh Manson on the right. They just signed Kevin Shattenkirk, and you have him likely paired with Cam Fowler. And then the fourth line is, and I forget, it's Christian Juice and Yanni Hakapana. Both those guys are like, one guy played 9 games last year, and the other guy played 5. So I don't know how that's going to work out. We'll see. They also have Brendan Gould in, and he played 30 games last year. So I would probably put him in there if he's healthy. This is you saw his brother get drafted to Montreal, right?
Yeah.
And I think he's a real good prospect. He's got the other guy, I don't know what happened to him, is Larson. Where's Larson?
Oh yeah, the Frenchman.
Yeah, so I think that this is probably a little different. I think most likely, like, Brendan Gooley should be a top 4 defenseman at some point if he's healthy. And then let's fix this because this is Colorado. So I think this is probably Stollers. They have to me, John Gibson is a top 5 or 10, probably top 8 goalie in the NHL. I really like John Gibson. He had a bit of an off year last year. Ryan Miller was the backup, but I think what you're seeing is their defense is not great, which is weird because on paper it should be okay. I don't know if that coaching situation is the best coaching situation for them. they play kind of that swarm defense style, which I'm not sure if that's going to work. I think what they want, honestly, is see, does this coach fit, or do they bring up Kevin Dineen? Because Kevin Dineen is the coach in the San Diego Gulls, which is their AHL team. In my mind, he's a better coach than what they have up there, but I guess we'll see. The GM in Anaheim is Bob Murray, and he made an interesting off-season, end-of-season comment, which is, oh, I really didn't communicate with and left the coach out to dry. He publicly came out and said that.
Yeah.
Which is really weird. It's a really weird thing to say. And I think that the coach is a weird communicator. And if you ever recall, do you remember when we were at the NHL coaching symposium and Andrew Ference and Dallas Eakins had that part of the symposium? And it was like, I wanted to pull my eyes out. And I'm like, can you imagine this guy talking to players? Like, players are not going to chat with this.
Yeah.
I watched him when he was in the AHL with Toronto. He totally mishandled Nazem Kadri. He was the coach in Edmonton, and I thought he totally mishandled Nail Yakupov. Like, I don't know. They have a lot of young guys that have developed, like Max Jones, Sam Steele, Troy Terry, Comtois, Lundison. These guys should be NHL regulars, and I think that they're going to be. I just don't know if that's going to be the coach. I like the move of bringing in Kevin Shattenkirk. If you look at their cap situation, they only have 1 more year.
They're over.
They have what?
They are over right now.
Are they over?
Yeah, they have 82.4. My notes is right here. 82.4 right now. They have to cut one of those. But
I mean, the logical one, I'm really surprised they didn't buy out David Backes. Like, is David Backes going to play in the NHL? Because he's got like a $4.5 million cap, and wasn't he in the AHL at the end of the year? And he looks like he's kind of done.
yeah, but we'll see what happened over there. I think, you know what I mean, like overall, they are not on the rebuild side, but again, you know what I mean, like when you have Fowler at 6.5, you have Lindholm at 5.2, then you have the Josh Mason 4.1, Shattenkirk at 3.9. You're right now four good defensemen, and they are like 28, 26, 29, 31. Then you have 23, you have Larson, Jacob Larson, you just mentioned to him.
He's good.
He's pretty good. I don't know too much about Corin and Joe.
I don't know how Curran got $1 million.
I think it was.
I don't get, but I think Christian Hughes is okay. He can play, but he only played like 9 games last year. So I think that what you see up here is what is pretty damn good, right? I don't have any problem with that. I think it's an obvious thing that they're going to have to do something with David Backes, and he'll probably get sent down. Or I'm surprised that they didn't buy him out, to be honest with you. It's interesting they signed Andrew Agazzino. I don't know if you know him, but he played at the 1991 age group in Toronto for a long time, and he was a damn good player. And he played with guys like Casey Zizekas. And he's just not a big player, but he's been a very productive AHL player. And he can play in the NHL. They brought him up, and he skates real well, and he's aggressive. I don't know. And then Sonny Milano, he's famous for his like skill and trick shots, but just doesn't translate necessarily. So that they're banking on him, I don't think that works. Like,
one player you didn't mention, but he's not going to play anymore. I don't think so. It's Ryan Kessler.
Getzlav? Oh, Ryan Kessler's. Yeah, he's done. He's finished.
So it's a one. He's on a long-term injury, so you're not going to get him over there. But also right now they have no backup goalie. That's another thing they have to figure out on that one over there. They have 4, but not like Is
Stoller still in there?
Who?
Anthony Stollers?
Yes, he's still there.
Yeah, he's capable of being a backup. Like, he could play 15, 20 games.
So over there they have Duckstall, Durney, Erickson, and Stollers over there. I think
it's going to be Stollers. Like, Stollers had enough games in Philadelphia. He's an ex-London Knight. He's 6'4". He's not super mobile, but he's capable of. It depends too. Like, if they're thinking they're going to finish real low again and try and get high draft picks, which, you got to think that they're trying to figure out how do we move on from Ryan Getzlaf.
Yeah. Now, on the prospect side, I think you have something you have to look is about Trevor Zegras.
Trevor Zegras is a real good prospect.
So it's a BU. That's one. The second one they have is Sam Steele.
Well, he's an NHLer now. He's real good.
Yeah. So
he's a damn good player in the WHL for Edmonton. Like, he's really smart and he can skate.
One you mentioned earlier, I think you have a lot in front of him. It's just to figure out how he can develop. It's really Maxime Comtois, 16, Cindy in EHL last year, but
he is big, he can score, and he's mean. And he has better hockey sense than Max Jones, in my opinion. Max Jones, they think, can be like a Tom Wilson, which I don't disagree with. He probably can. He makes a lot of weird mistakes, but he covers up for it because he's so big and strong and can skate. Comtois, to me, has a lot of potential.
Yep.
The other guy that's in the system is Braden Tracy. I thought he dropped off a little bit last year. He was a high draft pick after kind of being a late bloomer. I think that here's the weird comparison, is I compare him to Jack Quinn that was drafted this year. And Quinn was a late bloomer that had really good numbers, and then they regress a little bit. So I think that's the risk with Jack Quinn with the Buffalo picked. He reminds me a lot of Braden Tracy, where Braden Tracy looked like, damn, this guy, where'd he come from? He's real good. And he probably got drafted high. And now I think you're seeing that the age is catching up to him because he was an overager. This year's draft was really interesting because I really like their picks. I really like Drysdale. I mean, you can see where he's going to fit in on the top 4 in the next couple of years. And then Perreault, I think, has it's another good forward prospect that can really fit in.
Yeah, so they got like their draft this year. It's also Sam Colangelo, Jan Moore, Timo Nicol, then Antorium Galimov, and then they got round number 6 Arben Safvisk, and also Ethan Bowen, number 7 round. They have a 8 pick this year. On that part, I think they did pretty good to talk about this, to draft at least. I think one you don't talk too much is Jacob Perreault. We know already what Jamie Trestel is going to do. He was maybe the top defenseman with Sanderson over there, but I think Perreault is Colangelo could be surprised what he can bring to the
maybe
on that part of it. One thing I want to mention to you is the goalie. Is from Liga. Luka Dostal is a 6'1", 170 pounds. He's only 19 years old. He's from Finland. And also Benoit Olivier Gros from.
I was going to bring him up too. What do you think his potential is? I haven't really seen him. I saw him in the rookie tournament. He didn't really stand out. The other guy they signed is our former captain.
Sorry again.
Well, they did sign our former captain as well.
Yeah, and also you should know him, Brendan Tracy. You mentioned earlier, like Victoria playing the double. So I think overall that team is not bad. Honestly, it's always been. Yeah,
and they signed Bryce Kindup. That's who I was going to mention, who was our captain last year.
Yep. One thing
they signed him to a 3.
Honestly, and maybe them very well too. They always been a team with draft very well. They like any other team, you make mistake and you know what I mean, that's part of the game. But I think overall they always draft great defensemen.
I agree.
For the last 15 years, you can go all the way with Montour. You can see Theodore, Venenem, and then, you know what I mean. Like you can name a lot
over and over, right?
Yeah, honestly, it was pretty good over there. We know what they did when Corey Perry was there, and they have a good run with Giguère, and you can when Randy Carla was the coach for there for many years. It was really, I think, for a couple of years now. The last couple of years they rebuilt a little bit with keeping the captain over there. There will be an interesting year again. I don't think so. They have the full potential to. I don't think so to them yet to make the playoff. I think they're still missing a couple of pieces. I think the forward is not completely, but still they have the 2 good line over there. But overall, I think
they got 3 pretty good. They do have 3 pretty good lines. Like I think if you see Sam Steele and Jones and Comtois play the way they're capable, which I mean, they've been really patient with those guys. Maybe, right? Like, I think what they're looking for is, does Zegras become a number one center? Is Drysdale a number one D? I don't think Drysdale becomes a number one, maybe a number two. And then they have a great goalie, right? So then they would have the framework to be competitive again, but I think they're a year away.
Yeah, that's surprised, like you said earlier, they did not buy out David Backes.
Doesn't make sense.
They bring back Derek Grant. Grant was there.
He's good.
I think I didn't like him during the playoff against Montreal. He's a big 6'5", maybe. He's
Derek
a big young guy with there for the four. I think
He's
for the
big.
he's big. I'm sure he's 6'3" at least.
Look.
Are you looking?
You're right. He's 6'3".
Yeah. So you know what I mean. You have a good sense of hockey, also good hands. But I think it's a good pick for them to get him.
Yeah, he had 15 goals last year.
Yeah, I know. He did very well. I was impressed when I saw him. I did never pay attention. Again, some West Coast, it's hard for me to follow everybody in the league. But I think at this point now, I don't know why they didn't buy David Backes. But still, they have over limit right now, so they have to figure out to remove one of those players. But again, it's not a team's going to make the playoff, but they go the right direction. And Rinke have a good year last season. Backwell did not play that. I don't think so. Backwell have a great year compared to the year prior. Am I right?
Backus?
Backwell, yeah.
No.
Rackwell?
No, Reichel was off.
Yeah, so that's my point. So about 2-3 years ago, he had a good year.
Yeah.
Before he got hurt at some point.
He had a couple of 30-goal seasons, but he's kind of been 18 and 15 the last. He's still a decent player, but he's way off. He's like half of his old production. They're a weird team to me. I don't know. I don't see. I think that they're going to have to figure something out there. I don't know if that's the right coach long term, and I think that they don't want to waste John Gibson's career. Like, that guy's.
No, I think
so good. Like, get him a team that cares, because it feels like they just don't.
I think you're right about one thing. I think you're absolutely right about, Dallas is there for a transition between the next level, everything like that. So I think Dallas will be there for one more year. They will suffer a little bit, but if you look at the pace you put right now on the board, you know what I mean? Look, their first pick. Yeah, it's a lot of good players over there, from Gros to Lennerstrom to Zegras. You have Tracy over there. You know what I mean? And then you have Dristal in the next 2-3 years. I think Dristal could maybe make the team this year. Depends what they are. But also Perrault maybe a little bit longer. So
a little longer.
Yep. So what's happening is another great show. It's fun to see.
Pierre.
Tomorrow we're going to go with Boston, if I can recall it.
Oh, Arizona.
Oh, you're right.
And then we'll go Boston, I guess, on Wednesday.
Yeah, talking about Arizona, is it Fisher?
Yeah, Christian Fisher.
Yeah, he's going to sign a contract from 2 years, not officially, but the rumor is going to sign a year contract, 2 year, as a RFA, I believe he is. So just want to mention this. I read this morning. So thanks again, Michael. Appreciate it. Have a great rest of Monday. We'll see you tomorrow at 11 o'clock Eastern time. Have a good night.